Hey guys, we made it to season 5 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we aim to empower and embrace creativity through diversity as we dive into the fascinating stories and experiences of a diverse range of individuals, highlighting their unique perspectives and creative endeavors, from artists and entrepreneurs to innovators and activists. We celebrate the power of diversity in driving creativity and fostering positive change. Join us as we engage in thought-provoking conversations like
I made myself intentionally homeless in pursuit of my purpose.
We're aware that a lot of people want to present and they were in my position, and what's worse, they weren't a white male, which is a joke that's even still a thing.
I think my family never ever say you can't do something, so full of support for whatever dream. If I said tomorrow I want to fly to the moon, they'll probably say I wish you all the best, Mel.
So guys, I just want to say thank you for supporting the Us People podcast for the past 5 years, and we look forward to sharing another new theme song with you. Let's go.
Hey, my name is Ricardo P Lloyd, and I'm a British actor, writer, presenter, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am abundantly humbled to have Ricardo P Lloyd here with me, who is a British actor, writer, presenter, producer, and a passionate and committed individual who always likes to think out of the box. Ricardo.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to jump into my first question, which is, can you tell me a bit about yourself, but also where you grew up and how that influenced you to be the humble person who you are today?
That's a great question. So I was born in Ipswich. Not many people know that. My family came from Jamaica, the Windrush generation. I moved to London when I was quite young with my mother, and I just grew up in northwest London. So that was Wembley, that was Kensal Rise, that was Harlesden, Wilson area. So I've always been around northwest London from young. I think growing up in northwest London, there's so much vibrant stuff around you. You know, you have Notting Hill Carnival just down the road. You have, Queen's Park.
Yep.
So I kind of was immersed into that world. I went to Kensal Rise Primary School. Then I went to Capital City Academy, which was Wilson High, and then it became Capital City Academy. And then now they've changed the name again. But northwest London, I love that area. I think it's part of who I am and stuff. And, you have so many different cultures and different things around you. Even though I think when you go to Kensal Rise now, it's a bit gentrified.
It is, yeah.
But when I growing up, it never used to be like that.
It was more of a community when you were back in the day. And when something was happening, everyone would get involved. Whereas now, basically what they're trying to do is most probably they're trying to clean up the area to make it look like something that is actually not, which is sad in a way, because the people who made it that area in the first place, I see they're getting pushed out because of living expenses and whatever it might be. But I know for a fact that we'll always have a piece of this area because it's within us. London is within us, we're born here, but also the area itself is within us. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
So my next one for you is, can you define who you are as a person, but also who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, he's smiling, I like this. Has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to come from being a person that you would say you might not like or not envision to be, to becoming the person that you ambiently always wanted to be on the journey now?
That is a deep question, very profound. I think life is a journey, like you said. So there's been many times I've looked at myself and I haven't been comfortable or happy within myself. But I had to, develop within myself the tools to move forward, like the self-awareness and the self-acceptance, the self-love. And I think that's very important to have those elements to you, especially as well as an artist, because as an artist, you want to be able to express yourself freely, and you want to be able to dive into the complexes of other human beings and characters and tell stories and narratives. And you can't do that if you're not in tune with yourself. You don't know your likes, your dislikes. You don't know how your experiences shape you and why you are driven to do the things you're doing. You know, getting that sense of self-awareness is key. And I haven't always had that, but I think it's evolved with time. You know, it came from the reading, the studying, the being around different types of people, the different environments. So now I feel like I know who I am. You know, there was some points where I felt like I didn't know who I was, or I wasn't comfortable with who I was, but I feel like now that's kind of evolved with time.
See, this is what I like, because life has so many. They say that we change every 7 years. And we're still very young. We're not old.
Yeah.
And what they say that our past 7 years will determine our next 7 years in our life. So I always try to say to people, evolve in the best way that you can. There is no perfect way to do things. But when you look in the mirror, you will feel whether or not you are in the place that you want to be. But sometimes it's okay to sit in your feelings and your emotions so that you can understand them.
And I will add this as well. I'm an actor, so I do have those times where I'm insecure, or I feel inferior, or I feel like, man, why is things not happening for me? And it's the constant rejection as well, being an artist and so, as well. But you know, sometimes I have to just like nip that in the bud and just tell myself I'm doing this because it's a greater purpose to why I'm doing this. It's not, I don't care about what people think of me. I don't care what the industry is saying.
Like
I'm doing this because I feel that this is something innate, that God has given me the gifts and the talents, and I need to continuously move forward regardless.
Some of the things that people don't often talk about is the challenges that you, as a guy, there's so many challenges that you go through in acting. It could be in writing, it could be in any field, especially within creativity. One of the things that I do want you to break down for people who are listening, talk to me about the challenges that you go through. And there are some profound challenges that you go through in life. Talk about some of them.
Well, the challenges that I've had so far has been people within the industry, whether that's agents, whether that's casting directors, producers, just you're trying to be accepted when they're trying to mold and shape you into something they want you to be.
Yeah.
And you're trying to say, this is who I am.
Yeah.
See me for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so much different elements and barriers, you know, especially being a young black guy in the industry as well. When you're told that you're this, when you know that my capabilities and who I am is this.
Yes.
And you have to constantly, you know, wrestle with that. So I've been in this industry since 2019. I say this professionally. That's when all the kind of roles and, you know, the acting agents and all that industry stuff started to take off from me from 2019. But also I've been doing acting for over 10 years. So, you know, schools, college and all that stuff. And then when I was in uni, I had my first like professional show in 2015. But the professional side of it, when I said I'm going to do this as a career, was literally 2019. But it hasn't been easy. And I think as well, it was a shock when I was experiencing a lot of these things, because you're just naive. You just want to express yourself. You just want to be an artist. You just want to create.
Yeah.
But then the reality is, going into the industry, there's all these different agendas and these different things that's put in place already that you're not in control of. And you kind of have to adapt and adjust to move forward in your career.
Talk to me about how is it getting work as a creative person, because that is one of the hardest things in life. Because basically, like you said to me, even before we started recording, you are a one-man band. Yeah, you do so much of your work, which you should credit yourself for, and I'm crediting you for, so everyone else knows this. A lot of the time they see us and think, oh, this person's got everything, not realizing that you're working most probably 14, 15 hours a day. You're not working a 9 to 5. You're working most probably all day, every day, in order to get yourself out there in the world. What is it like for you doing all these things? And do you celebrate for yourself when you achieve?
No, I don't celebrate.
I thought so.
The reason why I don't celebrate is because there's so much more to do. I feel like if I celebrate, that's complacency. And I know I should sometimes, and sometimes I should say to people that I've done this or I achieved that, because sometimes people don't understand the work that goes into all these things. Like you're saying, you do work more than the average person when you're a creative, because, you know, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work. It's just because you're passionate about what you're doing, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in your career, and you believe in what you want to achieve. So you're that driven. And then sometimes I'm up like 12 o'clock in the night, and I'm planning emails, and then the emails are scheduled to be sent in the next day or next 2 days. That's how I work constantly. And I feel like no one's going to do that for me. No agents, no publicists, no person in that industry is going to do that as much as I can do that for myself. I have to be that driven, and I'm the visionary, basically. I'm the captain of the ship.
Yep. The most beautiful thing I always say to people is being a writer. I think being a writer is one of the most beautiful and authentic things in life. Being able to articulate yourself in a way that people will understand you. Talk to me about writing and how you emotionally connect to your writing to be able to send your energy through your writing so that the people receive it.
That's an interesting question. Not many people know about my writing ability. I've always had the ability to kind of write or creatively express myself, but obviously acting is taking the forefront of what I do, and acting is my number one passion, but there's also the writing side. So when I was a teenager, I used to write a lot of poems like yourself. I know you're a poet. And at one point I was trying to publish those poems, but I didn't have that direction of how to be a writer or make money off that. Now that I'm at this stage in my career, I'm able to understand how that works. And obviously there'll be a lot more stuff in terms of the writing side of me in the future. But I think writing is a powerful tool, just like acting. It's a medium. And I think as a creative, there's no barrier or limitations to how you can express yourself. And I think, if you have the ability to speak, you have the ability to write.
Exactly.
It's just about finding the words and the essence of what you want to say. There's so many different people that's inspired me, from the how do you say her name? The black man that's done noughts and crosses. I never get to. I never like quite know how to say the name properly. But to her, to Benjamin Zephaniah, to all these great people, even just like some of the old school people that's written stuff like the Black Panthers, that reading those autobiographies, or the Malcolm X's and all that stuff. All of that, they had to find a way to connect with words and connect with people. And I think I can even, you can even be inspired by that just as an artist, is that ability, if I'm making sense. And everything is literature in some aspect. When you're watching these senders and stuff like that, that's all words that's written and it's been interpreted by an actor. So I think they go hand in hand with acting and other creative forms, writing. So I think, that's a part of me that I would definitely want to explore a bit more. And I'm glad that I've been able to do that, written pieces for like Radio Times or Independent or Big Issue or these other outlets. And I felt like it's just about having a voice, especially as well as an artist. Like some of the challenges that I was facing as a young black guy in the industry, the rejections and the typecasting and stuff like that, I felt like I had to kind of have that voice and express what I was going through. So I wrote things down. I wrote articles and pieces expressing that.
How can we take the generation so we've got a generation here already and they're exceptionally talented.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that sometimes they feel suppressed and they don't want to do it, don't want to go on a path of positivity. Now, one thing that I've learned in life is that people always feed into negativity quicker than positivity. Talk to me from your perspective, and especially your generation, of how you feel that we as a community, as a culture, as a world can change the narrative so that each generation that's coming up can see more opportunities for themselves, but also look inside themselves to understand that they are great as individual people in the world, to know that they can make a mark, a stamp, and change it, because everything is about a choice. And the choices that we make counteract another choice. So what would you say about helping people to understand that the good is within them and being able to nurture their talent to carry on?
That's a very deep question. I don't think I'm like some deep philosopher or anything that I've got answers, but I do feel, I think we all need to like support one another within our communities. If someone has a talent or a gift, instead of saying to them, "Oh, get with the real world," or have a normal job, why don't you encourage that person to actually fulfill their purpose? And I think sometimes the environments do play a part in what those people actually become.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly being conditioned with negativity, then you're going to be a product of that unless you break the cycle. So for me, there was a lot of negativity, growing up around me, a lot of trajectories and paths that I could have took, but I had to find the strength and the encouragement within the negativity to pursue what I'm pursuing and move forward. So I'll say for any young person as well is that you need to find those inspirations to make you think bigger. You're bigger than your environments, you're bigger than those negativities. Hopefully I'm not waffling on here.
You're not at all.
Yeah. And it's hard, especially as well when you come from disenfranchised backgrounds and there's all these different things around you. There's things that tend you to go to the left. There's so many things that can stop you from fulfilling your purpose, but it's almost like a fight. You need to find the strength within yourself and the encouragement. Whether that is listening to your favorite song or something like that, and it tells you about, dreaming big or whatever. You need to find those things, and you need to hold on to those truths to move you forward. And that's what I've essentially done, and that's why I'm here today and I'm speaking to you today, is because I had to find all those truths, not the lies, because there's so many lies that will tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not valuable, or that you shouldn't be successful. There's so many things that from the time you're born, being a person of ethnic background, there's all these conditions placed on you.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a condition on you, especially, and I had this conversation with someone before. People will always judge you based upon how you look, rather than even before you open your mouth to speak. And then when you do speak, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this person can articulate themselves in such a way," not realizing your two souls could actually merge together and have a great friendship or whatever it might be. And this is where I feel people go wrong in the world, rather than getting to know somebody. And I think we should do more of that, getting to know people, not based upon how they look, but let a person have their say, let the person speak. So definitely there's something.
What's in the content of your heart? What's in the content of your character? Who are you?
Exactly.
And what I admire about you as well is that you said that you're not a typical podcaster or interviewer. That you like to connect with the people that you're sitting in the chair. And I think that's definitely key, is this being a good listener as well. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes, exactly.
So you have to connect with people and listen and find out about their journeys.
People will always remember how kind you were to them. And people will always forget you if you were horrible. So for me, kindness is a hard thing to keep consistent, because there are so many people in the world already being horrible because they want. Everyone's always wanting. If people take a step back to realize, if I'm kind to this person, they'll remember it for the rest of your life. That's why I always say to people, every day do one kind thing to a stranger. It's just my way of doing something. If you do one kind thing to a stranger, you'll always have good karma. So that's kind of how I've always seen it. One thing that I do want to talk to you about is, what was it like getting your first role as an actor? And how did you emotionally connect and bring your emotions into acting? Not just maybe on your first acting role you received, but throughout most of the acting roles that you get.
So what was it like? So I remember when I was in college, I played this character, and he was a young black guy who was in school going through racism, and he had suicidal thoughts. I think he ended up killing himself in the play. Now, I was so immersed in that character, but now how I look at acting as well is very spiritual. I try not to be, even though I'm a vessel and I have to bring those stories to life, I try to always have a part of myself that I'm always knowing that this is Ricardo. So even though I'm an actor and I'm playing a role, I don't immerse myself. It's dangerous that some people can really become a method actor and immerse themselves. So why I told you that story is because there was a time when I was playing this character in college, and I was so immersed in this role, and I wanted to, because I was the main character, I wanted to be so good at this that it ended up affecting me, that I ended up losing the lines, and then I ended up feeling suicidal like the character.
Wow.
So you have to kind of detach yourself from what you play and the stories, and know that, all right, when I'm done playing this character, this is me, and I can come back to myself, and I can, you know, be in tune with myself, if making sense. You don't want to be that artist that is so like engraved or immersed in something that you've lost the essence of who you are.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I've changed like my technique when it comes to like approaching roles and different things. I know that I have a responsibility as an artist to tell those stories, but at the same time, I know that when I come off that set or when I come off that stage, that I can come back to Ricardo and I can go back to the things that I enjoy and I love. And I think you need to always keep that balance with you, being a creative, that you don't, because I know it's part of us, like we're passionate about what we do and stuff like that, but you need to always find that time to be in tune with yourself and unwind away from all of that stuff, for making sense. Hopefully it didn't ruffle off.
No, it made sense. It definitely made sense to me. So
there's so like all the kind of roles that I've done so far, I find the truth in the roles or the stories, but at the same time, I have to know how to turn it off.
Yeah. How do you switch off?
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah, how do you switch off? It's hard when you're passionate and you're immersed in what you're doing.
Yeah.
To switch off. It's definitely hard, but you have to find the tools to do that. So obviously, like, you know, sometimes you can do a scene and it can be very emotionally driven and stuff like that. But, you know, what is required is the raw emotion and that authenticity. But at the same time, when you're finished doing that scene, you need to get back to yourself and get back to your enjoyments and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's it's very psychological. You know what I mean? And your mental health is definitely key. And you need to keep all of these things in perspective.
So that's a good thing you actually did mention, that mental health is a major thing right now. How do you feel as a man that you take care of your mental health and your mental well-being?
I have stages. So I have times where maybe I'm not as strong. I am affected by maybe a rejection or, you know, someone disrespect. Of course, I'm a human being.
Yes, natural.
But I think it's important as well that you have people that you trust around you, that you can have conversations and you can be transparent about, you know, the things that you're going through.
Yeah. Because
that helps. So, you know, at one point I had a counsellor, so I was able to talk about some of the stuff that I've gone through in life and whatever. So I think having that talking space where you can be, where it's therapeutic and it can give you that sense of release and freedom. You know, when you don't have that form of expression, it can be detrimental. Lucky for us, we're creatives, right? Yes. So you can easily write something or you can easily go in the studio or do something, and that's an outlet. But when you don't have an outlet, you need to find outlets to kind of let those things out. Otherwise, you know, it does affect your mental health.
Eventually, it will affect your mental health. That's why I say, even if you're singing, writing, running helps a lot of people because they feel like they can take out all their energy within running. So there's different things that you can do, but it's just finding something that you feel that you connect with, because everyone is different. Could be crafting, anything at all. So
I do go on a lot of walks daily. So I would just walk to like,
that's a good thing to do, actually.
Westfield or something, or just for the sake of it. People think, why are you doing that? But it actually helps me because then when I'm walking, I'm not so much thinking about stuff. Yeah. I'm just walking.
Yeah, I like doing that. It's funny that the most random place that I actually like walking in is the cemetery.
Wow.
It gives me clarity. I don't know why. I've always done it as a kid. I just go in the cemetery and I just walk, and I feel safer I feel safe in there, that I can just clear my head, clear my thoughts, and just think of what I'm going to do next. So everyone should have an outlet. So if I said to you, if there was one song in the history of music that you can say to yourself, I wish I wrote that song because of its lyrical content and what the song means to you, what song would you say and why?
I think it's a hard one because I'm very eclectic in my music taste. So I can go from like Marvin Gaye to Janet Jackson to Michael Jackson to Bob Marley. So like there's so many different songs in the canon of music that, you know, you're drawn to at different periods of time. But the whole Marvin Gaye's album where he did that kind of political, social stuff, what is it called? What's Going On? those kind of albums, yeah, they touch me because that's how I feel as an artist, like just seeing the things around me and wanting to change things. But I think as you become more mature as an artist, you realize you can't really change the world or conditions.
I think if we do it one person at a time, then we will start to see change. The only thing is, and this is going to get slightly political now, a lot of people who have power use their power to manipulate the world so that it bends to their way.
Their agendas. And,
their hidden agendas and their ways. Whereas I always find that good people need to work 3 or 4 times as hard. Whereas, like I said, somebody who gives negativity into the world, for some reason it automatically manifests to them for them to get what they want.
Yeah, I
You
definitely agree.
that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like people just say, like I'm a spiritual person. Like, I believe in God. People will take the principles of godly principles, and they'll just ascribe it to the universe or something.
Yep.
Whereas it might work for them, but at the same time, the intent is not good for making sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes complete sense to me. So if I said to you, if there was one person that you admired in the world and you would love to work with them in acting, writing, who would you tell me?
None. Yeah, because before I used to always put these people in a pedestal.
That's true.
And I used to say, oh, this person or that person. But now, I just want to work or meet great people.
I like that.
I don't want to put anyone on a pedestal. I'm not going to say people's names and make them, because sometimes when you meet these people, they're complete.
They say you should never meet your hero.
Yeah, they're complete.
Yeah.
I'm not going to swear on.
You're allowed to.
Yeah, they're complete. Yeah.
Assholes.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. And I've met so many of these people that you admire their work and stuff, and then they don't have the character to match that work, and that expectation is gone. So I don't put people in a pedestal. I don't even like to mention people's names. I just like mentioning the old school names, like the Sidney Poitiers or the Bob Marleys or the Martin Luther Kings or Muhammad Ali. Those people are my inspirations. No one in the modern context. I don't think anyone kind of matches to those kind of energy. That energy.
Have you noticed how in generations how it passes? We look more to the back generations than we do to the generations that are here today. Why do you feel that is?
I think what they stood for, a lot of them, the people in the past, was integrity.
That's true.
I think nowadays everything is about the quick likes and the clout. So somebody might go and visit a hospital or donate food to the children, because it's hungry, whatever. But they're doing that for an MBE. They're not doing that because they care. Where some of these old school people, they will do that and you wouldn't even know. It's only later on you find out in life that, oh, wow, you've done all of this.
You know what, Ricardo? I always say there's 2 types of people in the world. There are people in the background who do things without you noticing. And they everyone knows who they are. They're famous, but in the background. And then you have the people who are in the front. So you make a choice in your life to decide which one you want to be. I decided that I wanted to be in the background only because I feel I do a lot better in the background. And the right people will be manifested towards me and they will know who I am. And that is enough. But there are people in the front, but have to be in the front for a reason. Not all of them are in the front looking for these likes. There are people, good people like yourself, Ricardo, who are in the front doing good things because they want change. They want people to understand that you don't have to be the product of your past environment. So it's just that we, again, make the choice. That's literally all it is. So if I said to you, what would you do differently if nobody was judging you? Because I feel in the world we are always constantly getting judged. If there was no such word as judgment, how do you believe you would be as an individual?
I think I'll be more eccentric.
I like that.
Yeah. More eccentric. Like some of the people that I'm sure your research when you researched me, I'm inspired by someone like an MJ. I'm wearing his top today, surprisingly. So I like how eccentric he was. He had that childlike spirit within him, and that's why he was able to be that artist that he was. But at the same time, he it takes guts as well to walk around with like tape on you or like a mask on you, or do you know what I mean? Do weird things. Like, it takes guts. Obviously, Kanye has that element, but obviously we know that he does this stuff for attention. But you know what I mean? But I admire those characters that can just do that and be eccentric and not give a F.
That's true, actually.
But I think now, obviously, like from the Caribbean, like I'm from a Caribbean background, so I think a lot of us are very kind of traditional conservative. So we care, or you don't want to, that's batty man, like you don't want to do, you know what I mean? So all those things affect how free we can be, if
That's
we're making
true.
sense.
That is so true. I think our generations before, I think they've been installed with their past generations before. So they've adapted it. And this is why, again, change, it's up to us to change. We either become like our generations before, or us as individuals become like ourselves. And then now doing that will change everything else that's coming towards us.
Definitely agree with that. So that's my answer to that question, just being more free and eccentric in that aspect.
When was the last time you felt totally at peace with yourself?
Well, I think that's a deep question. I think when I was more in tune with God, I think now I'm trying to get back to that place where I was in tune with God. Because I think what happens is sometimes life can be
chaotic.
Yeah, and all these things attach themselves to you in life, and you have all these different responsibilities, all these things you can be doing, and then sometimes you don't even have that time to even pray or meditate or to sit and be one with your career and think about purpose on these things, because all these things in life is in the way. So when I was very prayerful, that's when I feel like I was most at peace. I pray, but it's not as where it used to be maybe a couple of years ago.
I think when you're going through a transition in your life, you think that you're not doing something as much, but sometimes I was told that when God wants to bless you, he makes you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes we go through uncomfortable situations and we feel like God is not there. But he is there. He's just making you uncomfortable because he wants you to change.
And I'll just add as well, there's a different kind of peace, right? There's a peace, like but there's a peace when you're in solitude and you have that connection to your career and you're in line with your purpose, that kind of peace.
There you go. You said it.
Yeah.
Align with your purpose.
Yeah. That's a peace that can't be bought. You can't buy that. That's just something divine. So I think that's the peace that I'm talking about.
So what is Ricardo's ultimate goal? If I said Ricardo, what is the one? It might be many things, because you can't just say one thing. But what would you say is your ultimate goal in life?
I feel like we're in a therapy session. Like all these questions.
Everyone says that.
Yeah, it's all these questions, man. But it's good. It's good though, because you're making me think and you're making me have to search within. My ultimate kind of purpose, I want to be able to inspire, empower people, educate people, leave a legacy. So when I die, people can look back at my story and my journey and think, well, Ricardo inspired me, or Ricardo done it. And I feel like there's possibilities in my life because he's shown me that, all things are possible and that you can achieve.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
matter what, no social class or barrier or, race issue, I can achieve.
That is true.
So I think that's part of my purpose, but I feel like I have, I have a divine purpose, what God wants me to achieve, and I have my purpose in terms of probably, which is nature, nurture, and all these different factors.
Yeah.
So I just want to fulfill both of those purposes and make sure that whatever I'm doing it to the best of my ability, and I'm inspiring, I'm leaving an impact.
One thing I will say to you, Ricardo, is you work so hard, and this is just coming from me. I think that you should celebrate yourself more. That's coming from me because I feel you deserve it. Because you don't want to get to a place in your life where you've done so much, you've achieved so much, and then you look back and then you say, I wish I celebrated even the small things. So this is me being ambient to you. This is me giving my energy of positivity to you, saying, from this day forth, for example, go out and celebrate who you are. It manifests more for you because you deserve it. And it just came in my head while you were talking.
Wow.
So I thought, I always say this to any guest, is that You work so hard to come on the show, to tell your story, to even use that energy.
Do you know what it is as well, Savia? When I do, people take it as being narcissistic, but sometimes I feel like I've been undermined so much that I want to say, I've achieved that, I've achieved this, I've done this, but then when I do that, it sounds narcissistic, so then I don't really do that as much.
Is it narcissistic to them, or are they just threatened at the fact that you've achieved?
Wow. This is deep, because this is with family members. That's what I'm saying to you. They just be like, oh, all you do is go on about yourself or whatever. But I'm not going on about myself. I'm doing it because I want you to validate, or you to say, oh, well done, or I'm proud of you. But I don't get that.
If a family member was happy with their life, they would celebrate with you. We all make, again, decisions in our life.
This is me being vulnerable on your podcast.
Yeah, it is. This is me saying to you, we all make, again, decisions in our life where we have the choice to celebrate with someone, to celebrate their journey, to celebrate what they do, to celebrate their hard work. We also have the choice to be happy within ourselves. Have you ever noticed when someone is happy with themselves, they automatically celebrate with you without you even asking them? Have you ever noticed when somebody's unhappy with their life, they always have something to say and criticize you about what you're doing, or how you look, or you put on weight, or all of a sudden, oh, you look skinny.
That's what happens in my household. So one of the when I say household but family, one of the things as well that I find that I'm dealing with in life is being a high achiever or doing all these amazing things, and then you go into the reality of the people around you, and because they're not necessarily growing, it's almost like they're holding you down, or they're trying to kick you, like, oh, it's like whatever I do is not good enough, basically.
A lot of the time people want you to be where they are because they haven't found their purpose in life.
I've never said this publicly. I'm just saying this to you. So
we've had so many spontaneous parts in conversation. Guys, even before we even started recording, we were talking about so many different things. But one of them, which I think is huge, and I'm so glad you said that, because I know a lot of people are going to connect with that part, is within your household. I was told that your household prepares you for the outside world. And everyone in your household, when you'll meet them on the outside world, and you'll be able to say, that person reminds me of my sister because they have the same kind of attitude, or that person reminds me of my dad or my mum because of the same attitude. And again, it's about the decisions that they've made, but they will always have something to say about you. But celebrate with the people who celebrate you. Yeah.
I just wish that the world could be
peaceful.
No, not peaceful. Like innocent. Like my 3-year-old niece, for example, like she's just proud that I'm her uncle. It doesn't matter whatever I do, so I'm her uncle in her eyes.
That mentality in there, they see, that's the thing about kids. They always see the joyful side, and that's what
Whereas
I always.
The adults, it's like all these expectations and all this stuff, and they're looking down at you. Like some people would think you're not successful because you're not in a big Marvel movie or whatever, right? They don't look at all the journey and all the things you've accomplished to get to the point that you are. They just look at the result, or the result in their head of what they think is successful. So that's something that you're...
That's stereotyping.
Yeah. Whereas my niece, like, 3-year-old, young girl...
She just loves uncle.
She loves her uncle. And I try to look for that in people, but I don't find that in people because it's always something or an agenda.
It's rare. Yeah. It's rare to find someone who is, like I said, genuinely happy with themselves. You'll only find that if that person is happy with themselves. And it's very rare because a lot of people don't know how to find their happiness. But once you do, I'm a Buddhist, so I live with the simplicity of life. Yeah. So I celebrate every single guest that comes on the show. I celebrate more than anything else their vulnerability of who they are, because they didn't have to give me that. And if you as an individual celebrate, appreciate all these things about a person, good karma will always follow you. But if you decide to always, for example, it is turned into a therapy session. If you decide to always take, for example, people who are negative towards you, then that follows you. And I wouldn't want that. And sometimes it's hard to get away from your household because you live in the household or you're around the household. But what I will say is things change, and eventually you'll come out of there and have your own. once you have your own, and I'm saying I know a lot of people are going through this at the moment because they
Yeah.
have to live in a household that they don't necessarily want to be in.
Or around family members
Exactly.
or people that are toxic, and yeah. So hopefully they can take something from this conversation.
Yeah. So the next one I have for you is, if you could choose one quote that represented you as a person, what quote would you choose, and why would you choose that particular quote?
The measure of a man is not. Let me find the actual exact quote right now. Let me get my phone out. Where is it? But it's a profound quote by Martin Luther King.
Ah, okay.
And I have it on my wall, but I need to get the right wording of it so that,
Let's find it.
yeah, quickly do it. Obviously, this stuff can be edited, right?
Of course it can.
It reads, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy."
That's a quote and a half. He's just showing it to me, guys. I think I should print that out and put it on the wall.
Yeah, so I'll send it to you. That's one of the quotes that it's kind of like subconsciously in me. So it's on my wall, so it's subconsciously there. I think that's a life-changing quote for me. So it's one thing that I get from it. It's not about being comfortable or things that are convenience, but it's like when chaos and all these things around, are you able to still stand?
Yeah. Are you able to find the peace in the chaos?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get from it.
100%.
That makes definite sense to me. If you had a chance to go back in time to a memory which helped you become the person who you are today, good or bad, what would it be and why?
So repeat the question. I just have to think.
No. If you had a chance to go back in time to a memory which helped you become the person who you are today, good or bad, what would it be and why?
It's a bit personal. Not many people know this, but there was a time where I got rejected by my own father. So that kind of shaped me. So I remember I was at his mum's funeral, and obviously, like, when someone's died or whatever, people are going through different pain. And he was like to me, "Oh, just go to your mum," something like that. And I think I was like probably like a 10 or younger than that, but that's stuck with me. It's like that level of rejection. So I think for me, that's when I kind of decided that I'm gonna be my own like man. Like I don't need you in life. I don't need your acceptance or your love. I'm gonna be my own man. And it's probably weird, but like from those young ages, you can make decisions like that.
Yeah, you can.
So I think now when I look at everything and the man that I am, it's probably like shapes from moments like this. Obviously, there's been many different moments, or maybe it's rejection or people saying negative stuff, but these things kind of shape you, and it builds character, or it builds a sense of awareness, or a sense of self. I know, yeah, it's a bit personal, but yeah, stuff like that.
No, I like it. So my last one for you
Yeah.
is, I would like for everyone to be able to find you, know more about your story, your direction of life, or whatever you would like to share. Where can people find you, Ricardo?
Well, I'm quite like out there, like in terms of online presence and stuff like that. So my social media handles, which is Ricardo P Lloyd, you can follow me on Instagram and just follow my trajectory, my story, and my journey. I think that's the most important thing. I want people to just follow my journey, so you see the highs and the lows and all these things. I'm quite transparent with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that people see all those sides.
I think it's important for you. You know what? I'm so proud that you came in today to do this. We decided to do this face to face. A lot of the time, I'm so used to doing it online. Ricardo requested that we do it face to face, and I'm so humbled that we actually did. So this is where I say to you, Ricardo, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast and show your vulnerability, your uniqueness, but most of all your creativity and kindness to let people see a different side to who Ricardo P Lloyd is.
Bless you, and thank you as well. And hopefully this year, 2024, will be a prosperous year for both of us, you know, in terms of your writing and your podcast and everything that you're doing. And in terms of my acting career, I need those roles. I need those castings. I need all of that, leading roles in 2024.
They'll come in.
Yeah.
They will come in. Just manifest them.
Yeah.
You know, I always say to people is that think that you already have them. Act as if you already have them, and they will come.
And I just want to say as well, whoever's listening to this, I don't know if you're a girl, your boy, or whoever you are out there, I hope you just feel encouraged as well by this conversation, and you feel the strength to continue to pursue your purpose. Even if people are saying that you can't achieve, just know that you can achieve, and that there's a plan, there's a divine plan for everything in life. And you just have to just move forward regardless of the obstacles or things that's in your way.
You know what, that's a nice way to actually end the show. That's a nice way. Guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going to the Savvy Rocks website, or just going to our brand new website, which is www.uspeoplepodcast.com. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
Because sometimes people don't understand the work that goes into all these things. Like you're saying, you do work more than the average person when you're a creative, because, you know, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work. It's just because you're passionate about what you're doing, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in your career, and you believe in what you want to achieve. So you're that driven.
Redirect the yes to you, you'll see the power in yes if you try. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide you high. We're just soaring through this journey, leaving fear far behind. Our hearts are full of courage, you can win if you try. Redirect the yes to you, you'll see the power in yes if you try.